I hope I got enough film.
Yeah.
I hope I got enough on there. We might have too many on there now. We're back
Yes.
here. We're back with the Method Actor Speaks with the lovely and talented Nadine Bass, which is one of those rare gifts that we get from the Actors Studio with the history, and which is something that is going. It's a dying art. I mean, the knowledge that you have, it has to be passed on. The work has to be passed on. So let's keep going, because I want you to talk about what you want to talk about.
Well, what I want to talk about is exactly what you just said, and what you're doing here is bringing people on that experience.
Well, you look good up close.
What lens did you have on there?
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry.
I don't know if you've taught much. Have you taught?
A little bit out in Cleveland when I was in Little Italy.
And when you do, isn't it sort of an automatic, the technique becomes automatic? When you get someone to relax and you feel where they're tense and you get that part of them opened up and you get them to release it, you watch them working and get them to break up the tension in their exercise when they're doing a scene, and you get them doing the physical activity and then saying the line. To me, it is the most natural thing in the world. It just flows right through, and it goes straight into them, and they get it, and you see their life change. You see the light go on. You see that they feel they are actually expressing and accomplishing something. That is
That light comes on in them. Sharon, why don't you
the
sit
most
down here?
meaningful thing to me.
Yes.
That is the most meaningful thing to me about the work. That's why I like working with method actors, and I know that they feel safe working with me. They know that I protect them, and they wind up being very close friends for forever.
That's a gift. But you said, when I did teach, the first thing I told everybody in the class was, what I'm telling you is not coming from me.
Exactly. Yeah, I have nothing to do with this. I'm getting out of the way and giving you information.
That was passed on to me.
This is what Lee spent every day of his life for 60 years perfecting and improving on and improving on. He never said, well, I said this. He realized he was learning more as he went. There's always more to go. There's no perfect scene. There's no way for the thing to be done perfectly. You don't know how it should be said perfectly. You don't know.
You don't.
You just have to do it. And really be doing something. You have to learn how to do what it is your character's supposed to be doing in the physical task. If they're a race car driver, whatever it is, or a cook, whatever. You have to really do it. You can't pretend.
Right.
You're really doing it, and as you're really doing it, you're really responding.
Isn't it weird when people talk about the method, it's because what you just said a little bit, when you have to learn how to cook. Now, if you don't know how to cook, make a meatloaf, well, they went out and they learned how to make a meatloaf.
Exactly, and they
That's
used to make fun of them.
Right.
In the old days.
They did. That's what, the mumbling and this and that.
Yeah.
But it was so, if you didn't know an actor, you went out there, you talked about James Dean earlier, went out there and
I'll
learned.
talk about James Dean all day.
Well, that's,
And
you know
here he is, he's playing his first role. He's playing someone who finally gets to see his mother, who he thought was dead. Well, though most people know his mother was dead, and for someone who could really express, oh my God, I get to see my mother again, and ask her, what was it like? Do you still love me? What do you remember me? What am I like you? It's made to order. When you're really willing to give of yourself. And his father's rejection of putting him on a train with his dead mother in real life, and then to have this frustration to try and get your father to love you in both of his first and second movie.
Yeah.
He worked with those issues.
And she was a madam too.
She was a madam, and the father was too straight-laced in that. And then in Rebel, he just wanted his dad to stand up for him, and his dad was didn't even raise him
Well,
in real life, you know, and he used these things
Yeah.
so vulnerably. It turned a corner in youth having as much to say as anyone else, that youth have feelings they want to express. It doesn't matter how old you are to suffer. It's kind of like when Huckleberry Finn first came out,
Right.
and people actually acknowledged children were people. It's
Yeah.
and I want to say one other thing. We used to work on J.D. Salinger's works because they were not film, they were stories that no one else was an image of. You got to be the image of that person without a preconceived image. And a lot of those short stories, Lee would always recommend using, you know, Hemingway and Dorothy Parker and those things, so that you didn't have a preconceived image.
Shelley did that too.
The earlier actors, the whole actor studio was very much a part of that, and I know Kazan begged Salinger to make the movie. Anyway, the thing is that those people started out without TVs. Shelley Winters and those all. There was not TV to, you know, everybody didn't know. Everybody didn't know how Gilligan or Mary Tyler Moore or all these people, these conventional types. Not that those actors were conventional types, but the prototypes of what television would put out. There were no personalities preconceived like we have now. We've seen it all.
That's right. No.
I don't even know
Right
where
there.
the phone is.
Go down. Go
Point,
down. Right
point.
there.
Here?
Right there. Right there.
Oh. I'm just going to hang up on him.
That's all.
I can't. Here.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Keep talking. Hello?
You know, Spencer Tracy was really an original. Clark Gable was an original. There was no one before them. They were this, you know, Cary Grant invented Cary Grant. Marilyn Monroe invented Marilyn Monroe. There was no, there was nothing really before that. There were a few different kinds of blonde bombshells, and they were comedians like Jean Harlow and Thelma Todd, Carole Lombard, but, you know, Marilyn took it to another level. But now, people don't seem to be able to get past
They don't get past.
these images that are the initial.
Well, the initial, I know what you're saying. Don't think about it. Just
The initial
bring
icons.
icons. But I want to bring you back to when you were talking about James Dean. He did a scene in East of Eden with Raymond Massey, who played his father, where he grabbed him.
That's the
It
scene that has
Wasn't in the script.
And every actor, and non-actor, just about everyone I've ever talked to about James Dean has said, that is the scene where I saw myself.
Yes, everybody. I mean, and it was so real. And when they talk about Raymond Massey, who was the Shakespearean actor, and so used to it, well, because he broke the rules. He was a method actor, and where everything was in place.
He just didn't hit his mark and say his line exactly the same way.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He was Raymond Massey was a studio, but that scene, I mean, he's just whoa when he did that.
But that's really how James Dean's father reacted to him when he'd go for him. And I'm sure, I mean, my father reacted like that to me when I reached out to him at a certain point, and it was too late.
But it's those moments where, you know, that's so important for an actor to take that risk.
Amen. Amen to you. And people are not really allowed to take risks
You
in
have
that
to,
way.
whether they like it or not. I always tell actors, go for it. If they don't like it, they're gonna stop it. But it's you. I mean, once again, Arthur Penn, break the rules, and it's just in my mind. I read for this movie with Michael Madsen, where I was supposed to
I've worked
be.
with him.
Yeah, it was a girl came. The girl gets Mo. With the
I was the script supervisor of that movie.
Well, then you remember when I did the scene. Oh,
I
God.
was the script
You
supervisor.
guys know each other and you don't even, you're as bad as
That director,
as Shelley
I mean,
Winters
all
not
those
recognizing
James
her
Bruce, I did
husband.
all his- I was-
You remember the scene where
Yeah.
there's a scene where Michael Madsen, you know, he kills everybody, goes through their pockets. And
Yeah, and
everything.
yeah.
Now the scene, you were there sitting. I remember the script girl now.
Yeah. That was me.
Right there on this side of me.
That was me.
And well, the original
Knew I
script
recognized
called,
you. That is so.
the original script called for me to come in and be the submissive. And I came in and I just turned it around and I said, "Fuck you, I am." You know, I was not. And I did that in the thing, and the scene. And I remember the stunt guy had to shoot me in the head here.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't care.
Oh, and all the windows went in. We blew out all the windows. And
Now do you remember him?
Rustin was in my feature.
He was the producer.
Yes, Rustin was in my feature. Rustin.
Now he's
I
the
did a bunch of-
director.
I did a bunch of stuff for Rustin when
Yeah,
I was a script supervisor.
Rustin. But that's the girl gets smoked. And I'll tell you another good actor.
I got to tell you, Tony Danza
Danza's
and I,
a good actor.
we really bonded. I cannot say enough wonderful things about
Me
Tony
too.
Danza. I love that guy.
There was a scene we had to get out of the car, and the way Tony Danza got out of the car,
I know exactly.
I was driving, and I was like, he was my boss,
How
and
funny.
how I had to open the door,
How funny
and
is
he
this?
just allowed everything to happen like it really supposed to be. Because I used to be a driver. I was arrested. You ever see the movie The 7-Ups?
Yeah.
About organized crimes. Those are the guys that really got me. And so when I got out, I mean, I know a little bit of that background. And the way he did it, Tony Danza, he just got out of that car like a boss. And I thought, wow. It's those little moments as an actor, you know.
Tony knows.
That means so much.
Yeah, he's good.
Tony knows.
He's very likable on the
Tony
screen.
knows those kind of things very well. He knows a dark side, and when he gets to show that, he didn't get to do it in TV, and I saw him in a play, and that he did with George C. Scott that Gary Marshall directed, and it actually went to Broadway. And when I first met him on the first day, I said, I saw that one night of that play.
That was in the O'Neill play, was it? Where he played the bartender?
No, I saw him in that too. Laney and I went to go see him in that.
I really admire that he went to Broadway and played that. That was
With Kevin Spacey.
oh God, one of my
Iceman
favorite plays.
Coming.
Iceman Coming.
Yeah, we were in the second row, and Laney had these loud bracelets on, and at one point, one of the actors just turned from the bar and stared at her.
Take those bracelets
Anyway,
off.
Tony is. I mean, I was so happy that he was getting all this notoriety from this new movie, Don John, and he's
Right. But
He's
yeah,
great.
Very talented. Never
So he
got
could
the-
play a really dark, mean, kind of monster kind of guy, right?
Yeah,
He could do that.
Michael Madsen was Michael Madsen. He,
Yeah.
I just walked through the thing, but and they should have used more was Boom Boom and
Louise-
Cine.
Yes, Boom Boom was good, and Louise Fletcher.
Yeah,
the
Louise
dying
Fletcher.
mother.
I'll
There's
never forget.
another one who's.
Yes,
You can't get a better actress than Louise Fletcher.
And
she's
she's-
amazing.
and I remember we were talking about Actors Studio. She says, I tried to get in, they wouldn't let me in.
Oh,
This and that.
we got to talk for a minute. At Geraldine Page's memorial, everybody had the story about how many times she auditioned. She's like famous for she auditioned more times than anybody before she got in, and then no, Dustin Hoffman did. And there are all these there's all these urban
De Niro
myths
did,
about
and-
how many times people would audition before they finally got in, and everybody.
Just going and auditioning would be like fun,
Well,
just to like
It's
even
not
if you
fun.
get kicked
No, it's
out.
not
It's
fun.
not fun. It's literally what I was trying to
Not
finish
fun.
up before when I was a furniture mover for the auditions was, as they were done, and they called time and they would come down the stairs, every single person, the blood had drained out of their face and they looked like they had given birth. And they were like, it's like, they finally stopped hearing the cannon fire and they just needed to just go and collapse. They had given, it was the scariest thing they'd ever done, and it was finally over, and they were just
So they didn't.
numb in shock.
You were just like, oh.
From
Yeah.
auditioning
Yes.
at
From
Madsen?
auditioning
At
for the
Actors
Actors
Studio.
Why is that
Because it's
atmosphere
Actors
so
Studio.
Most
frightening?
meaningful audition in the world.
Because if you made it there, you were considered the elite of actors.
Yeah, but you know that if you don't, you can come back and audition on
Well,
audition on
that's
audition.
easier said
Shouldn't you
than
go
done,
in and
Sharon.
like have a good time
Sharon,
and enjoy
you've
your
never been
scene?
there,
That's
so
not-
I'm not gonna agree with you on that one.
Well, I don't know.
No,
I was
that's what I'm saying.
asking
You don't know. Auditioning for the Actors Studio,
Is the most terrifying
and
audition
it's
you can
and
ever do.
I'm a member. When I made it, I thought, you know what? If there's one thing I ever did good in my life, I became a member of the Actors Studio. I can be very proud of that because Very few people do that.
Well, it's like being a member of the Academy.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Well, it is. You have
No,
to
it's
do. You
not.
have to do
That's
3
a technical
films.
achievement.
And
You
This
have-
is
you-
not a
the-
technical
you have to
achievement.
do 3 films, and you have to have actors write
Yeah, but
letters and sponsor
Sharon,
them.
you're going off into a different thing. Being a member of the Actors Studio is they
The
take you
Mount
on
Rushmore
your
of
talent.
acting makes the decision of the actor studio. It used to be Lee and Kazan and was it
Well,
Cheryl involved?
I remember your name. Out here, the 3 that passed me was Mark Rydell, Martin Landau, and
And I worked with
what's
all
his name,
those guys. I was in Theater West with all those guys.
Tootsie.
Stanley?
Justin Hoffman.
No, not Stanley.
Dabney Coleman?
No, the director,
Yeah, Sidney Pollack.
Sidney Pollack.
Did I call him Stanley? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, I worked with him on Ben
So
Casey.
I did
He used to direct those.
I had 3. Cause
He was a wonderful director.
Salome
These are-
Jens told me that. I
These
was
are
one of the last.
not- These are not pushover people.
No, she says I was one of the last to get in to the studio under the old.
See,
rules.
that's why I didn't pursue finishing my auditions after that, because I'm going to name a name now. Frank Cassara took over after Ellen burst in, and he opened the gates and he let in like 80 people, and
More than that.
yeah, right, all of a sudden he let in all these people.
All his students he let in, over
and
100
I
students.
left. I had nothing to do with the actor studio anymore, except when I'd go with Shelley in LA. I
You know,
really.
that's also when
there were
Paul
no
Newman
meaning.
pulled out after that because they all the
Paul-
money.
Can I also just say Paul Newman basically supported that place and kept it afloat
He did.
for the rest of his life?
Yeah.
That guy put
He
his
did.
money where his mouth was.
But then he
Yeah,
stopped
he really did.
because there was so much money going south, and that's why they started the new school thing.
That
Bravo.
new school thing for money, and that's got nothing to do.
Yeah, and everybody
With
thinks
the
it's
work.
Actors Studio.
You're getting a master's degree. It's not the actor studio.
No, it's not the
No.
Actors Studio because well,
Maybe some of the people are the teachers, and if you get
Your
some of the
teachers
real
are-
people,
yeah.
you're lucky.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth
teaches.
is, yeah. Well, Elizabeth, when she had the sessions a few years ago when I was in New York, and that was like the real, you know.
And there's Lou Antonio. He's there teaching,
Well,
right?
he's one of the artistic directors along with Salome Jens. He runs the sessions on Wednesdays, you know, and on Fridays it's run by usually.
What about
Marty.
Joanne Linville? Does she?
She
'cause
used to moderate there,
Yeah, I
but
learned
her
a lot
and,
from
it's
her.
Marty and Salome Jens who do the Friday sessions.
Did you used to see Ray Walston out here?
Oh, he was my idol.
I worked with him.
First time he ever-
Brilliant.
I did a play. I was doing
Wonderful.
a play up there, and he says after, you should do Shakespeare. But he was always, you know, there was a guy, one of the greatest actors ever
He
lived.
could do anything.
Anything.
And he was so pissed about that. My Favorite Martian, everybody
Yeah,
typecast
yes.
him. And I mean, all those Broadway shows and the,
Damn Yankee, you know.
yeah,
But he
and
stole
South
everything.
Pacific. He sold every scene.
Every
The
s-
Apartment.
Everything. Every
Hysterical.
time Ray Walston, what happened, I was with Robert Blake, and I wanted him to meet him.
Robert Blake. There's
Well,
another.
Well, I called Ray's house, and his wife answered the phone. She says, John, I can't talk now. The police are here. Ray just died.
Oh,
You know, and that was the beginning of January, I remember, and you know what a gift he was. He was 86 when he died. So I figured, you know, 86 stands for you're out of here. But he used
Did
to
you
ride
see
his
him?
bike.
Did you see him when he was in Of Mice and Men?
Yes,
The
of
Malkovich
course.
with
I mean, the guy never did anything bad,
Mm-hmm.
and he was one of the founding members out here, along with
Yeah.
because there again, Paul Newman brought the Actors Studio
Mhm.
to Los Angeles, along with you know
Mm-hmm.
Ray Walston. Oh, what a gift! You worked with Ray.
yeah, I worked with him a
on
couple times.
the, and didn't he give you some good advice?
Oh, he was wonderful.
Come and sit here and
Oh,
you two talk
we
about Ray.
we talked about Ray in the last 3 shows.
You can never get enough of
You
Ray.
can never get enough of Ray Walston and Shelley Winters and.
Now,
all
what was
the
it
other
like
people.
working with Ray?
He was wonderful. He taught me how to sun my eyes. You know, it's like when we were outside shooting a scene, and you know the lights are
Oh,
so bright.
My eyes are ruined from that.
And he said, close your eyes and just let that light shine on your eyes until they say action. And you can see, and you can open your eyes. And it was like,
When you're
so
the
that's
script
a trick.
supervisor behind the monitor, the lights are right in your eyes, and unless
Ah.
you kiss the feet of a grip that will give you a courtesy flag that will extend past the director's gaze so that you don't get it in your eyes, so that you can see the monitor. I have, my eyesight is just ruined, and I get those migraines where, you know, you get a flash of light and you get the migraine. The bright lights were really murder on the sets
Well,
every
he
day.
taught me how to.
I can't close my eyes. I'm busy writing all the things
writing
down.
everything down. Maybe
Yeah.
glasses, some kind of dark glasses or something. Well, it's already passed. It's already happened.
Well, here's the noise again. So this has been a gift, and we're gonna end it here. And really, once again, I mean, what a gift you are. And you're more than welcome. Please, when
You
after the
gotta go
shows,
audition. You gotta go audition and set all
No.
these people straight. You
What's-
gotta get them working straight again. Just take over and just say this
I would
is the way it
bring my
is.
script to the PD unit, quite frankly.
that's a great thing for you to be
That's
with
what I'd
it,
rather do.
because
My
they have the
script behind
directors. I think that's the answer for you there.
Oh, and she'd love to get that. She
I
wants
wrote
to
it
get
for her
that.
because I think she's
How long
incredible.
ago did you write that?
I wrote it a while ago, but then I've retweaked it and retweaked it, and I
Well, they're only taking plays now. They don't take.
plays.
That's all the writers unit takes now.
There's one thing I did want to say. Do we have any time left?
Go ahead.
When I was in New York after Lee, right after Lee died, I organized scene night performances with my co-students, and we did one night where we ran for a week where we did Chekhov one acts, and I did one, and I cast some friends in another one, and we did Chekhov one acts, and then I did a thing where we all did different scenes from Salinger, and I had been a child actor, and so I really wanted to do Franny and Zoe, and one of the scenes I did that really got me really knocked Lee out as far as my work was playing the young prostitute in Catcher in the Rye, and that was something that was I did at the Actor Studio, and also the Dorothy Parker stories. I really felt doing the lighting and producing these things where I acted in these stories where I got a chance to do the parts I wanted. I felt at a certain point I was ready to come back to LA and go back to film. I did not want to just light and do theater. I really was devoted to film. So that was kind of like my little college time, or college master. You know, that period I had done what I wanted to do, and I did it on my own, and I kind of avoided the terror of agents and auditions, and I was up, the different things that I was up for. Actually, the reason I stopped being an actress is I was up for a part in a movie, Personal Best and The Friend, and not only was I not a runner, and the faking of running would have been hilarious because I was the worst, but there was a nude scene, and I could not handle it at all. So then I'm going to New York, I'm not going to deal with this nude scene crap, and then finally I got a call back for the lead in a off-Broadway show that John Malkovich was recasting with New York actors.
I love him.
20-minute nude scene. I said, that did it.
You didn't do it?
I
didn't do it?
Well, I wasn't offered the part. I mean, I got the call back, and then I was like, I'm not going to. Anyway, I could not handle that. I knew that I was meant to be behind the scenes, and so, no, I would not.
It's just an instrument. It's just something we run around with.
I don't have that.
That, yeah.
Are you saying if you had larger breasts, you would have done it?
I couldn't do it. That's something that I do not have the ability to do. And
I
just
couldn't
I
either,
think
but
it's
I've made
exploiting
myself
women.
be able to do that. Because it's an instrument. Your body is just an instrument. It's nothing but an instrument.
I just think it's.
I love it. I mean, when
Gratuitous.
I worked with Beverly D'Angelo, she taught me so much about that. She was so free. She wasn't even naked, because she was just so full of acting, and she was so full of her person, and she was so full of that role.
She's
Barbara
also so
Carrera's
full of beauty.
Everybody, when you're nude, everybody's beautiful. You go to a nudist, you practice, you go to nudist beaches. And everybody,
I love
bad
being nude.
people,
No, I
bad
do.
people, they all look
Nadine, it is.
wonderful.
I used to always, one thing I always enjoyed teaching, porn stars. I had a few of them on my show. No, really, because they were willing to get naked. And that meant, as an actor, they were willing to go anywhere.
Strip. Yeah, they were really just.
I used to
stripped
teach a
down
lot
to
of
all
my
the
students.
emotions.
We used to work on David Mamet stuff, which is very, very, like Shelley Winter said about him. Sometimes there are no words for the feelings. You know, with all the vocal is language.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Montgomery Clift turning his back and not moving. One of the great actors of all time. I don't know why everybody sings, you know, Brando and Dean. Believe me, I love those guys. They don't really talk about Monty, and
He was
as good, if not better, than anybody ever.
He was the best out of it. He was the real
He did turn his
method
back,
actor.
and I saw him in some movie, and
Yeah,
he turned
it was-
his back on something very important. It was just poignant.
It was a
just
place in the
incredible.
sun. It was a place
Is
in
that
the
it?
sun, and he got
Okay.
the phone call, and he knew he couldn't have both. He knew he was trapped, and actors always think they have to do all of this stuff, but this guy would just like a vibrating piece of glass or something. You could
And
just hear the
quiet.
tones.
And
And
quiet.
still. And he worked day and night with the people that were in his scenes, like in From Here
From
to
Here to
Eternity.
Eternity, he worked with
They both,
Sinatra.
they
So
both
good
got
in that.
They both got Oscars, and he didn't,
He should have.
because Burt Lancaster was also nominated, which
Burt Lancaster,
He
he shoved out Salome Jens.
Well, with Burt Lancaster was a great actor, underestimated.
Yeah, I know.
And listen, the guy did a lot of good things, and he started a studio. No, I'm a big fan of Burt. He might not have been
I
a
used to
method
walk
actor.
with him at the Beverly Hills High School.
Have you ever
We used
seen
to
the movie
walk
The
around.
Swimmer?
Yeah, so he was great in The Swimmer. He goes from one pool to another, and he's like.
You would
he's
swear
losing
that
it,
came
you know?
from Actors
You've
Studio.
seen it. I'm sure you've seen it.
You know,
It's like it's a really abstract, weird film.
I
It's
just
great.
there's no comparison though between
Montgomery
Montgomery
Clift.
Clift.
oh no, no,
Well, they're
no.
two different people.
And
No.
Monty's never won an Academy Award. He's never. He came back from being the most beautiful face on the screen.
Yeah, after the
to-
car accident.
To having that car accident.
That didn't.
That's what killed him.
Yeah, I didn't
Killed him.
bother me at all.
Well,
I
the
still,
drugs and
I
all that.
still thought he was wonderful.
And back then you couldn't be a
Judgment in
homosexual.
Nuremberg, Judgment in Nuremberg.
Back then you couldn't be a homosexual.
That was the one.
That's
of the
what killed him.
biggest problems. Yeah.
You know, you.
That killed a lot of actors.
And that's another reason why the Academy Award never went his way. You know, because they knew, and he was.
Listen, Academy Award people, the way they vote is not for
Well,
the talent. It's
he
like
was
a
a person. He was
personality
going up.
test.
Excuse me, he was going up at the same time as Brando. He'd always be nominated the same year as Brando or
Yeah.
something, and a lot of times they'd bull moose each other and like bogey one
Yeah.
instead of one of
This
those
year
two.
it's going to be Robert Redford and Bruce Dern. They're going to be button
I'm gonna go
heads.
see that movie tomorrow. Well, that's it, folks. Thank you, Nadine and Sharon.